Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
welcome to the Holistic Kids Show. My name is Zane.
My name is Abdullah.
And my name is Jamal.
We're the Holistic Kids, here to educate us kids from the inside out. Our eyes of the window to are the windows to the world. But unfortunately, just like our bodies, our eyes are also suffering, and no one is talking about it. It is the new normal.
In 2020, 22.9% of the world's population had myopia. In 2050, 98.8% of the world's population is now projected to have myopia. And this is something that's on a global scale now, not just in America, but people all around the world.
Dr. Appelbaum is a pioneer in neuro-optometry, passionate about unlocking life's potential through vision. Dr. Appelbaum is on a mission to change the way the world views vision. Dr. Appelbaum has been featured on the front page of USA Today, on CBS and NBC, in the New York Times Magazine, interviewed on MindBodyGreen, Kresser's Revolution Health Radio, and Evolution of Medicine. He's also the founder and CEO of My Vision First.
Dr. Appelbaum has worked with hundreds and hundreds of professional athletes in every sport imaginable, and now he's here with us today. So it's a huge honor for you to be joining us. Thank you so much.
It is such an honor for me. I love what you guys are doing and so excited for this conversation and to hang out together.
Because this conversation is really needed. Now, most people, I know in my classes as well, most people think that glasses, well, they're the new normal. If you have glasses, that's normal, which is something that it's a mindset that needs to be changed.
1,000%. And you're probably noticing now more people are wearing glasses than they were last year, a few years ago, even pre-pandemic. And there's so many reasons why, but even more importantly, there's so much we can do so that the dependence on glasses or the need for glasses isn't as much as it is. You know, I mean, far away getting blurry is a symptom. And you guys have talked to so many doctors and specialists and people in the healthcare space, but we got to look at the symptoms, but we also got to look at the problems. And if you address the problem, then the symptoms get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So much of distance being blurry, of myopia or nearsightedness, has to do with a near problem. Too much screen time, too much time indoors, too much work in the dark. When our world is kind of pulled in here, it gets locked up, our visual system, our focusing systems, and then we need more help for far away. And so that's why people's prescriptions keep spiraling out of control and increasing, because we're adapting to what we're in and needing more help to maintain that same level of clarity.
So just before we get to your story, let the viewers know, is there hope for someone to improve their vision even after they've gotten glasses?
Absolutely, there is hope to improve your vision. But before we talk about how, think about eyesight and vision as separate things. So there's a hope to improve vision for 100% of people in the world. Also for eyesight, but eyesight is really just the ability to see. So that's what glasses help with. That's a street sign. That's in the classroom with the teacher writes on the board. Vision, though, is our brain and how our brain is using our eyes and processing information and making sense of the world. Any brain at any age can be improved and enhanced. Eyesight sometimes is where we are, and we can make it so things don't get worse. In some cases, we actually can reverse that as well. But there's for sure hope for the vision side, which is how our brain uses our eyes.
Well, that's amazing.
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 So we would love to know more about you and how you got here. So can you please tell us your story?
Absolutely. So I'm a product of my unique specialty in the work we do. So I specialize in something called vision performance training. So it's kind of like physical therapy for the eyes, but really for the brain through the eyes. And when I was a kid, much younger than you guys, I was a mess. I had trouble focusing my eyes. I had poor depth perception. My eyes didn't work well together as a team. And so what that looked like was I was lost in the classroom. on the soccer field. I had no idea what was going on. And I just kind of felt like this turtle, like pulling down into my shell in so many aspects of life. And I had poor confidence, and I had trouble like even knowing how to communicate with people because my eyes and my brain weren't working well together. And so fortunately, I went through a ton of vision training and now attribute all of my success in life athletically, academically, even like communication wise and interpersonally for what I trained for myself and how I developed that eye brain connection with the right type of exercises and work. And so now, I mean, I'm a stud athlete, not because I'm athletic, but because I can rely on vision to give me an advantage. And when I was in school, I could memorize what I was reading in textbooks and what the teacher was putting on the board because I could create the pictures in my mind, store them, and then go back and reproduce them. So if there was a test that said, what percentage of the world has green eyes, I could remember reading that and know the answer and then pull it out because I kind of created this chalkboard in my mind based off all the work that we did. So I really look at this as like I'm here so that others don't have to struggle the way I did. And that's why I'm so big on sharing my story and getting all this out there because so many things are related to our eye brain connection and are fixable. Car sickness, eye turns, headache, a lot of headaches, trouble with reading, trouble with writing, trouble catching a ball. I mean, so many things in life are how our eyes are working together, and there's so much we can do to help support that.
You are so inspirational.
So inspirational.
And we're so glad that you came up here and shared your message because it's a really needed message right now.
You guys are so sweet. Thank you. And what you shared initially about nearsightedness increasing, I mean, it is crazy when you think about like when we landed on the moon in 1969, it was like a fourth of America that was nearsighted. Now it's like 43% of America. And like you shared, it's estimated by 2050 that 50% of the world is going to be nearsighted. And it's because of all this technology and inside sedentary life that we all have and not exploring in nature and three-dimensional space. And unless we do something about it, we're kind of doomed. But there's so much we can do to slow this down because things weren't like this 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And it's only increasing because of us all not knowing better so that we can do better.
So what do you think is the first step to somebody that's on a journey to have better eyes and better vision?
Love that question. So there's so many steps, but you got to take that first step to take all the others, right? So I think the first step is to be really mindful or careful about doing things in moderation. So take screen time. If we're on screens all day long, that's going to cause a lot of problems. If we're inside all day long, that's going to cause a lot of problems. If we're not taking place playing with sports and in three-dimensional space, that's going to cause a lot of problems. So first step is to really have a balance between screen time and outdoor time. And I always say, as much time as you're spending on a screen, spend at least that much time outside in natural light, climbing trees, playing catch, riding bikes, kind of being kids, being people that can do what our ancestors did and the cavemen did when they were outside most of the time, having a nice balance there. That's for sure the first step.
So what do you think is the biggest problem that if everyone in the world maybe stops doing this, we could really just have a better, more seeing future?
I think if we had more face-to-face interaction and less time talking to each other through screens and through the virtual setup, then that can help with so many aspects of development for kids, our emotional development, our cognitive development, our social development, but then our vision development as well. And during COVID, when the whole world shut down, screens and technology got catapulted into every aspect of life. It took over school, it took over shopping, it took over going to the grocery store, even talking to your next door neighbor. Instead of going over knocking on the door, you're texting them or on their phones. And so that has kind of become the new normal for so many of us. And I'm not anti-technology. I think technology is amazing, but for most people, it's causing this stress, all this extra effort on the brain and the eyes that we don't have the foundation or the skills in place to support. And so it requires a lot of vision training or brain training for people to be able to handle this digital world that we live in. But screens are really they're taking away from how we're interacting with each other as people. And I think that's something that is becoming a big issue with people of all ages, but definitely with kids, where, so often your kids are talking to people like this with a machine 2 inches from their face, blasting all this high energy light and brightness and contrast that, our bodies aren't prepared to take on and don't know what to do with. So there's so much we can do to help support that.
So I know a lot of kids nowadays, they're on the screens, right? They do a lot of screen time, right?
Everybody does it.
So
Everybody.
a lot of people might be wondering, okay, but technology is so embedded into our lives. How do we protect our eyes but still have to use this technology?
Yeah.
And what advice would you have for kids that obviously they want to have some screen time? They want to go out and play games.
Do you want to hear a crazy statistic? Do you know the average 8 to 10-year-old in America spends 6 hours a day on a screen? Average. And I don't even want to share that statistic for adults because it's way higher. So you're absolutely right. And, I think there's a lot we can do to protect our eyes and a lot we can do to protect our brains. There's simple stuff like taking a ton of breaks. Will you guys do something for me? If you make a fist with your hands and squeeze them as hard as you can, everybody do it. Don't let go of the pressure. After a few seconds, your hand starts to hurt, right? But if you were to squeeze and let go and squeeze and let go, you could kind of do this forever, right? When we're on screens, the inside muscles of our eyes, our focusing system, they're behind our pupils. They get constricted. They turn on. So every time we're on a screen, those muscles are locked up. And when there's an inflexible system, that causes eye strain and headaches and causes so many functional problems. So as simple as taking breaks, like looking away from the screen and coming back when you are on a screen, as simple and silly as that sounds, that can really help to take a lot of vision breaks. I always talk about the 20-20-20 rule, which means never more than 20 minutes without taking a break for at least 20 seconds and look at something 20 feet away. But that's kind of the most. We should be doing it every 5 minutes if we can. So that's number one. Number two, blinking. And these are easy wins. We can all start this today. The average person blinks 15 times in a minute. And when we go to a screen, it goes down to like 3 times a minute, which means you're literally blinking less. So fresh tears are going across the front surface less. The windshield's getting cleaned off less. Then your brain says, oh my gosh, my eyes are dry and tired. I'm going to send the signal to release more tears. But then the tears come out in a more watery fashion and not in the normal oily, watery mixture. And so your own tears drain faster. And then we go down this massive cycle of things getting worse and worse and inflammation coming in. So remembering to blink a lot and to take breaks, those are simple things. But then I think one area that most people don't really know about are specific protective glasses. So I call them digital performance lenses. And this is way more than just blue light glasses. These are glasses that block the harmful blue light, but then more importantly, they have a really nice balance of either magnification or prism or something that has to be kind of designed from a doctor to know exactly what it is for you, but it gives the brain a better opportunity for the eyes to work together as a team by letting the inside and outside muscles of the eyes have a better relationship together. So it kind of relaxes the focusing system and it takes away a lot of the extra strain and stress on the eyes and on the brain from locking in up close. So digital performance lenses are really, really helpful. They can make screens less terrible. They can make things better moving forward. But then also, like, if you are on a screen, the bigger the screen, the farther away, the better. So this is an excuse to tell mom and dad, say, hey, Dr. Appelbaum said we need a really, really big TV and it's got to be really far away. And If we're putting anything on that rather than on a phone or a tablet, there's a lot less strain and a lot less stress on the eyes. So at least that's better. But then, getting outside as well and having this balance between inside stuff and outside stuff, and talking to somebody on a 2-dimensional screen versus talking to them in real life with 3-dimensional space. I want to have everything kind of in moderation there.
So basically, go outside, blink more, not a lot, but blink more.
Blink more. Yep.
Remember to take breaks, at least from between 5 to 20 minutes. Every 5 to 20 minutes, take a break. Just look outside, look to something far, 20 feet, and focus on that. And that will help your vision.
That will help. And this is not just the crazy eye guy saying this. There's studies that say being outside for 90 minutes or 120 minutes, so between an hour and a half and 2 hours, means you're going to be less likely to develop nearsightedness. But I think the biggest, most important thing is eye exercises. We exercise our body. We develop strength and stamina and flexibility with our body's muscles. We should be doing that with our eye muscles. We should be doing vision training. And there are specific eye exercises that can make it so that you can handle screens for longer. Your tracking system can be faster and more robust. Your eye coordination system can be more flexible. Your focusing system can withstand that squeezing for hours and hours and hours. And so by using our eyes to rewire our brain and to do the eye brain training, we can make it so screens are less terrible. So if you do all the areas you just mentioned plus eye training, you don't really have to worry about screens causing all this harm.
Yeah, talking about like all these exercises and breaks. Like my dad used to tell me like anytime, once a while, like every 20 minutes or so, like to take this eye break, and he would do like you put your finger right here and then concentrate on the finger. Then like after a couple seconds, concentrate on something farther. Like I'll concentrate on like all the way over there.
Do you want to go through a few things that you can then teach Dad about?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So next time he's doing these, be like, oh, hold on, Dad. Actually, I want to show you how to do this a little bit better. All right. So should we do 3 things?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do eye push-ups to start. We all know how to do normal push-ups. These are eye push-ups. So cover up one eye with one hand. And then with the other hand, take your pointer finger and like start with your hand all the way for as far away as you can. And then you want to look at your pointer finger and make it clear as you bring it close, and find as close as you can get that, keeping it clear. And as soon as it gets a little blurry, then stop at that distance. So once it gets a little blurry, make sure your finger's coming close. As soon as it's a little blurry, stop. Then you want to try and hold it there for 5 seconds. And then without moving your finger, look as far away into the distance as you can across the room for 5 seconds. And then back at your finger for 5 seconds. And then back in the distance for 5 seconds. So it's a relaxation, stimulation, relaxation, stimulation. So you're basically constricting the muscle, relaxing it. So if you watch each other's eyes as you're doing this, you'll notice when you're looking at the close finger, your pupil, that black hole in the center of your eye, is going to get really, really small because the muscle's locked in and the focusing muscle is behind the pupil. When you look far and relax the focus, it's going to get really big because it's relaxed. And so you're literally squeezing, letting go, squeezing, letting go. So you want to do it the same amount of time with your right eye as you do with your left eye. And when you do this, and when you ask Dad to do this, you'll probably notice that one finger maybe can go to here. And then we do it on the other side. That other finger can be closer or farther, but basically at a different distance. If you're focusing your eyes at different distances, think about what's happening with both eyes open. Your brain is essentially saying, there's this competition over which eye to use. I'm going to pick one eye to make it easier and not have to use the other. And that's something that we kind of unconsciously develop as a way to cope or as a bad habit. And then that means under 2 eye conditions, you're picking one and ignoring the other. So if you do this enough, right side and then left side, you'll get them to be at the same distance. And eventually you'll get it to be super close where you can lift really, really heavy weight with your focusing muscles. That's what that is. So that's the eye push-ups. Second one, let's do eye stretches. So that's going to be cover up an eye and look as far up to the ceiling as you can to a place where you can hold your eye steady. Hold that for 5 seconds. as far down to the floor as you can, to a place where you can hold it steady. Hold that for 5 seconds. And then all the way to the left, 5 seconds, all the way to the right for 5 seconds. And then also do the diagonals. So like up left, up right, down left, down right. And you want to do it like 2 rounds right eye, 2 rounds left eye. Those are eye stretches. And then the third one is actually, I mean, there's like a million of these. So let's do either magic side. Let's call it magic side vision. So this can be with both eyes or one eye, but let's do it with both eyes here. So what you're going to do is pick something across the room, kind of straight ahead, and point your eyes right at it and don't look away from it. And then with your magic side vision, notice something off to the side. So like for me, I'm noticing the light switch all the way over here. You want to point to where you think that light switch is without moving your eyes there. And then when you think you've got it right on, then move your eyes and see how close you are. And you'll probably notice you're like a little bit too close, too far. So you're basically painting in the periphery, but actively teaching your brain to open up and see things out here. So start kind of close to here. So start with something that's like a little bit to the side and then see how close you are. Then start something really far away and do that. And you'll notice, like if you do this when you're outside, it's a lot easier to see one side or the other side, but it's hard to see both sides together. What's kind of crazy is when our visual system is under stress, the normal response for everybody is our pupils, those black holes, get really big and we get locked in with this tunnel vision. And when you get tunnel vision, it's almost like you lose track of everything around you because you're just focused on what's in front of you. And that's that fight or flight response, if you've heard about that, where like when danger's coming at you, evolutionary, you block everything else out. So you have to focus here to like get yourself out of the way. Well, stress from screens can cause this central tunnel vision as well. So you guys now know how to open up your side vision and to like kind of look soft and notice everything to the side, which then makes it so that if you're intentional behind that and you do that often, you can use central and side vision at the same time, which helps develop a really nice balance. So I'm sure you've taught your dad a million things and your mom, but now teach them these 3 and then see, and you can be their coaches and see how they're doing with it.
Yeah, now we have another thing to teach them, right, Mom?
Yeah, love that. Love that.
Yeah, so remember, for everyone that's watching, our eye, we exercise every other part of our body, but we usually forget to exercise our eyes, and they are one of with the screens and everything, they need exercise the most.
Absolutely. More than anything.
Do these 3 exercises that that Dr. Appelbaum taught us, and your vision will increase, right? It'll become better.
If you do all 3 of these, it's probably not going to get worse. And if you do it enough, along with some other stuff, it'll probably get better. And like you said, I mean, vision is our dominant sense, right? And there's more areas of our brain dedicated to processing vision than all of our other senses combined. And more than half of the real estate up here is dedicated to vision, not eyesight, not the ability to see, but like the processing of vision. And so if we're doing exercises, if we're maintaining flexibility and we're working out these systems, just like you can get really strong muscles with your body, you get really strong eye muscles and really strong eye brain connections. And then you can read forever without losing your place, without forgetting what you're reading. You can catch balls, whether you're running or turning your body. You can drive eventually when you get to that age. You can really rely on vision as that dominant sense to give you an advantage in the world, which we all deserve and we all need.
Well, that's amazing. You are so empowering.
I love it. Thank you.
So how do screens impact our eyes? You talk a lot about different types of blue light. Is all blue light bad for you?
So that's 2 really big questions there. So the second one, is all blue light bad for you? Absolutely not. Blue light's actually really, really important for us, but that's natural blue light from the sun. And natural blue light from the sun helps regulate our hormones, our circadian rhythm, which lets us know what time to go to bed, what time to wake up, helps regulate our alertness. So it's really important to get fresh, natural sunlight if you can, first thing in the morning, ideally like for 2 to 10 minutes. And then ideally end of the day as the sun's going down, because that just kind of gives you your body and your brain the signals of, okay, wind down, it's time for bed, or okay, time to wake up in the morning. But blue light that is from screens, that's artificial, that's blasting your eyes and your brains all day long, that's the bad stuff. That's kind of the junk light. That's kind of like junk food. You all know about junk food better than almost any kid. That's the junk food for your eyes. And so, especially if you're on screens like at bedtime, your brain starts to freak out and not know, is it time to go to bed? Is it time to be alert? Is it time to process things? I'm not really sure. And that can throw off your circadian rhythm and your sleep cycles, because melatonin, that hormone that helps regulate sleep, is sent out at the wrong consistency or at the wrong times. We have cells in the back of our eyes on our retina, which is the skin on the inside of the eye that images are focused on, where these cells, their sole responsibility, their main job is to send signals of light or no light and sleep or no sleep. And when those cells are overstimulated, when you're on screens and they're blasting them all day long, they stop working the same way they were previously. They get tired, and then that whole feedback loop gets messed up. So not all blue light is bad. Natural blue light's really good. Blue light from screens, not so great. And your first question was about screens and why are they so bad? So part of it is the blue light, but also there's very different visual demands on screens compared to reading a page. So when we're on screens, there's more eye movements needed. They're less organized. It's not just going left to right or right to left. There's more sporadic and all over the place. There's crazy brightness and contrast and glare, which can create so much light sensitivity. It's 2-dimensional versus 3-dimensional, meaning like when you're holding a book and you're physically touching the paper, that gives your brain signals of where this is. It's a lot easier to aim your eyes to get there. And then also the eye movements. We talked about the inside muscles and the outside muscles before. Inside muscles of the eyes are our focusing system. Those are locked in and stimulated way more on a screen than they are on paper. And then the outside muscles start to get tired faster than they would otherwise. And so then we get this kind of fragile eye coordination, and things get unstable, and then it's a lot harder to keep our place. And then the more you're on screens, the more this neurotransmitter called dopamine gets released, which makes you want to stay and be there for longer. And then it's kind of like tricking you into doing more with your eyes and working harder with your visual system. And then things just go downward in a spiral, not really the best fashion. Mm-hmm. So blue light on screens, I think many people are way more sensitive than others. It's not necessarily the screen that's the problem. It's our body's response to the screen. And it's how our brain is using the inside and outside muscles of the eyes and how it's processing the information. And that's different for everybody. But in general, really high quality blue light blockers with the right type of magnification, which is that digital performance lens we talked about, that's kind of the game changer that we should all be in. So I'm going to talk to your mom when we're done with this, and we're going to have you guys pick out some different frames that you like, and we'll send you all pairs so that you can start wearing those when you're on screens. We have them on our website.
Thank you.
Well, that would be amazing.
You get to pick out the colors and how you want them to look on you.
Gaston would love that.
Yeah, I think I would also love it too.
And remember, those are glasses that don't do the work for you like normal glasses that people have, where something's blurry and it makes it clear. These are glasses that allow your brain to use your different eye muscles and visual systems more efficiently over time, rather than in a therapeutic way, rather than compensating and doing it for you. So no harm by wearing them, and only good by wearing them.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You got it.
What is one thing kids can do today to improve their vision?
Great question. So we talked about kind of limiting screens. We talked about getting outdoors. We talked about playing ball sports to really apply that eye brain and eye hand coordination. I think nutrition is also really, really important for the eyes. So our eyes are actually parts of our brain. A lot of people don't know that. And when you're in mom's belly and you're developing and growing, your eyes actually emerge from your brain. And so they're the only part of your brain you can kind of see without things getting messy. So anything that is good for brain health in terms of nutrition and supplements in general is really good for eye health. So what you are teaching so many kids out there in the world about how sugar is not great for you and seed oil is not great for you and all the things that can cause allergies or reactions like gluten and dairy and processed foods. I've heard you all speak and I've learned so much from you. That same goes for the eyes as well. So you want to eat for your brain to eat for your eyes, but in particular for your eyes, there's a kind of a few things that are even better for eye health in terms of what we eat. One of them would be omega-3s, which can be found in supplement form, but also in cold water fish. So the cold water fish is like the salmon, the anchovies, mackerel, halibut, sardines, things like that. There's a mnemonic to remember that called SMASH, for SMASH, to remember those different fish. And dark green leafy vegetables are really good. They've got something in there called lutein and zeaxanthin. So that's like kale, spinach, collard greens, like that. And then colorful fruit that have antioxidants and vitamins A, C, and E. So I think we can eat for eye health, but then also we can function and do a lot for eye health as well.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, we are always told eat carrots for your eyes, and I think I know, right? When we were going through rainbow foods, orange and yellow foods, am I going to tell them?
Orange foods have alpha and beta carotene that can help.
Look at you! I love that. And actually, carrots are good for your eyes, but I would say there's a lot more stuff that's probably even better for your eyes than carrots, but still good for you.
Mm-hmm. So we are approaching around 30 minutes. So for people who want to listen to you more, where can people learn more about you and your amazing work?
We can't hang out anymore? What do you mean? No, I'm just kidding.
Come on. You can stay as long as you want. Thank you for coming on today.
I will talk to you guys for as much as you would like whenever. So please let mom know that. You can find all of our stuff in kind of two main places. The first would be on Instagram. It's just Dr. Bryce Appelbaum. But my last name, Appelbaum, is not spelled like the fruit apple. It's not A-P-P-L-E. It's A-P-P-E-L-B-A-U-M. My ancestors wanted to make things really tricky for us. So you can always remember it once you know that. And then also our website for the practice and all the amazing stuff that my whole team and I are doing is myvisionfirst.com. And so on My Vision First, we've got information about our offices, which are in Maryland. We've got an office in Bethesda and Annapolis, Maryland. There's a lot of information on there on the digital performance lenses we talked about. We also have a really cool online vision training program called ScreenFit, which is kind of like working out at home with like sit-ups and push-ups and air squats instead of going to the gym. That's what ScreenFit is, but for specific eye exercises for screens. And so kind of like the three that we went over, there's a version of those on there along with 30 others. And there's a video where it shows you what to do and then says, all right, put the screen down. We don't want more screens to help with screens. And then you can go ahead and do the exercise. And it's all stuff that you don't need any equipment for. But hopefully you guys are doing eye exercises at the dinner table, and we can make it a family thing because then you all can hold each other accountable. So great resource for all of that.
Wow, that is amazing.
Amazing.
So we know you are incredibly busy, so we are so thankful for you to be here with us today. This was such a powerful episode.
Time to recap Dr. Appelbaum's key points.
We have a screen time pandemic that is not only impacting our health, but also our eyes. Our eyes are part of our brains. Your eyesight and vision are different. Vision is how your brain is using your eyes and making sense of the world around us. Be mindful and careful about doing things in moderation. As much time you are spending on screens, spend that much time outside. Have more face-to-face interactions, the natural sunlight first thing in the morning, and a few minutes at sunset is key to your health. Follow the 20-20 rule. Look away 5 to 20 minutes away every 5 to 20 minutes to look at something 20 feet away.
Digital performance lessons. Digital performance lessons can help.
Lenses.
Lenses can help. The bigger the screen, the further away, the better. Get outside and have this balance with inside stuff and outside stuff. Blink more.
Eat for your brain and eat for your eyes. Omega-3s, dark green leafy vegetables, and eat the rainbow, packed with antioxidants. And thank you again, Dr. Appelbaum. We would love to talk to you more about this.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zain Sari.
Abdullah.
I'm Maud.
Follow my family and I on social media, Holistic Mom D, and look out for our book, The Teen Health Revolution, coming out by the end of this year, November. Kids need to learn from other kids. Please download our podcast in iTunes and leave reviews so other kids and families can benefit. We need to create a healthy future for all of us and the planet. Join us next week for another episode of the Holistic Kid Show, where kids are empowering kids.
Thank you, everyone.